It's time for my full review of the Nokia Lumia 830. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So this is the full review of the Nokia Lumia 830. This is a beautiful looking device, so let's jump in. First I'll go over the techie stuff, and then I'll get into the basics of the things that I look at on every review, about 8 to 9 things, and then I'll give you a rating on how I feel about the device and whether I think you should buy it or not. So the first thing that you see when you look at this device is the 5-inch display. It is a 5-inch display. It's an IPS LCD capacitive display, and it's a 720 display, and it has 294 pixels per inch, almost 70% screen to body ratio, which is this is 69.9, so I don't know why they just wouldn't give it 70%. Clear black technology, which means like the blacks will be really black. With screens off, you won't be able to tell, so it looks like just a slab there for the screen. This is a very nice screen too. Gorilla Glass 3 has Microsoft Windows 8.1, which you should be able to get 10 on this later on once it's available. Has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400, a quad core clocked at 1.2, and it has the Adreno 305 for the graphics, which is more than enough. And let's see here, what else I want to tell you. Has the micro SD card slot, removable battery, comes with 16 gigs of storage on board, 1 gig of RAM, and that beautiful 10 megapixel Carl Zeiss optical image stabilization camera on the back with PureView technology. Shoots in 1080p at the highest of 30 frames per second. It does shoot 720p on the front of the display with this camera, but this is a 0.9 megapixel camera, so that's not a bad thing. It's really a clear camera. It has dual band Wi-Fi, which is a huge plus because lots of people now have the 5 gigahertz band at home, and you want to be able to take care of it. This does have wireless charging built in, but not on the AT&T version, and this is the AT&T version. So that will be a nice feature, but I think you have to change the back or do like a clip-on. 2200 milliamp battery in this thing, and you can probably you'll be able to change that out. The AT&T box, they do give you a green back, and as you can see, this is the black back that you get with the phone as well. That's about it. It comes in orange and white also, and gold. The gold will be real sweet. So let's get into the actual real-world stuff about the phone. How is the screen? Well, the screen, let me zoom out a little bit here. I think I might need to. Yep. The screen is a beautiful display. I'm not one of the people that review phones that say, oh, you know, I saw some wash on here. People are not looking at their phone that serious. And if you are, take your title as a techie, because that's all you are if you're digging deep like that. This is a beautiful display. Hands down. I have a background set here, but this display, the live tiles, it makes this phone look beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful overlay, or Windows, I should say. Windows Phone is beautiful. So, the next thing about this phone is the body. This body is metal, aluminum, whatever you want to say. The body it's got a dedicated camera key, power button, and volume rocker are well placed on this device. On the top, you've got your antenna gates, charge and sync, and headphone. This is the first phone that I've actually used that I'm okay with the headphone jack being on top. For some reason, I don't know what it is. It doesn't bother me. On the bottom here, you've got more antenna gates. On this side, there's nothing. On the front, you've got 3 hard keys down there. You got back, home, the Windows key is home, and then you've got search. You've actually got a microphone right under the Windows key. The earpiece is up here, and then you've got the 0.9 megapixel camera there. Flipping it over to the back, you have the beautiful 10 megapixel Carl Zeiss lens back there with PureView technology. I think that's a beautiful thing. In order to take the back off, I hate to take this back off, but I'm going to go ahead and do it because it's very difficult to take off. The battery is up under here. You got to take the SIM card is up in here. It's one of those clicky push button kind for the SIM card, and then the battery goes on top, and there's your SD card slot. I'm going to pause for a second while I snap this back on. Okay, so that's the screen and the body. So sound quality, let's give you a little test here. Let me see. I have yet to fire up my radio on here. The radio is free, so I'm going to go ahead and fire up the radio here and we'll be right back. Okay, so I got some music loaded up here. I'm going to show you what the sound quality. The speaker is on the back down here at the bottom, but it is a loudspeaker. The volume is at about 20. So the volume on this is really good. When watching YouTube videos, the sound quality is super sweet. Even though the speaker is on the back of the device, that still doesn't hinder the sound. When you're cuffing it to hold it, it just works very well. So let's get a video here. Let's just play this one, I guess. So you get a sense of how the sound is for music and videos. This is actually a really great speaker on this device. They did wonders with this. I don't know how they did it, but it sounds fantastic. So the cameras on here. I just put up the video on the cameras the other day, so check that out. I'll probably have a link in the description. But the cameras on here are really nice. I use the button there to start it up. I'll just take a picture of something here. Very quick shutter time on here. This thing has fast shutter and it is really nice. I mean, the detail, the level of detail that comes from these photos are good, to say the least. I mean, I think this camera is phenomenal. I mean, people might say, "Oh, you always say every camera is good." Well, I don't. Check my history there. I don't think every camera is good. But if a camera is good, I got to give props, because remember, we're talking about a camera on a cell phone. The fact that this one has Carl Zeiss is really nice. I mean, it helps these photos, because there's no way these photos can be rendered the way they are with such vibrant colors and things like that. Let me snap another picture here. There's just no way that these photos can come out so clean and crisp like this without it, man. I mean, there's some really nice software that is enhancing these photos to make them come out the way you want them to come out. And I didn't make any adjustments. I just snapped those photos. But you could definitely, even as an end user, which most of us are, you can still go in and play around with this camera and take a really good photo by messing with the ISOs and all the features here. So, you know, that's up to you. I say that both of these cameras on this device are great, hands down. Web browsing. Now, web browsing on a Windows phone, it's a little different. I found that I can't comment on certain blogs, and I don't know, it's good. Now, I like having the taskbar at the bottom, or the address bar at the bottom. As you can see, let me go to a full website. You already know which one I'm going to go to. The web browsing experience is better than the Chrome web browsing experience. It flows a lot better. It's very smooth. Here we go. It's very smooth. Just the overall experience, I feel, is better than Chrome. I've had lots of situations where Chrome will crash on me. It had some issues. But as you can see here, you know, this web browser loads up a web page really fast, and you know, it does its thing. It works like it should. But I've had lots of instances where on my Chrome browser it crashes. But like I said at the beginning of this statement, I did have some instances where I wanted to comment on something, and the way you do that is you'll probably have to go to desktop mode. But nonetheless, it can be done. It's just you might have to take an extra step. And that's not everywhere, just on some places that I've gone to. But It's good. There's no problems with it. So the web browser is functional. I think it's actually better than Chrome. The more I use it, I think it's a lot smoother than Chrome. No crashes, no issues or anything like that. But it gets the job done, and that's about where I'm at with it. I think the web browser will definitely suit your needs for web browsing, hands down. What's powering this beast, like I went over before, was the quad-core processor. Now, we all know that Windows Phone is, to me, I say Windows Phone is like iOS. You don't need a quad-core processor in a Windows Phone, but you do need the RAM. And this phone has 1 gig of RAM. And the reason you need the RAM is because some applications won't work. You know, they just won't work without the 1 gig of RAM. Phones that have 256 gigs of RAM on a Windows Phone, they run smoother than some high-end devices on Android. And that's just a fact. But the fact that you have 1 gig of RAM in this one and the quad-core processor, it doesn't hinder the experience at all. It helps it so much, and it is a phenomenal experience to be able to have this particular unit run so smooth. And it's just Windows Phone is really what it is. Windows Phone runs flawlessly. It's just smooth, and it's a great experience. So processing it, obviously, there's tons and tons and tons of things that go behind making a phone fast, but I personally think it starts with the operating system. And I think Windows Phone, iOS, and BlackBerry have mastered that. And it's nothing, I've said that plenty of time in other videos, it's not a hit towards Android. It's just that Android is fragmented, and, you know, so you'll have like my Note 4 can be sluggish. My Nexus was sluggish at times. The only phone that I haven't had that many issues with is this Moto X. And at times this has crashed on me and had some issues. But with iOS and Windows Phone and BlackBerry and WebOS, even WebOS, super buttery smooth. I think Windows Phone has done the best at when you look at a phone, that looks beautiful. It may not have widgets, but it has live tiles, and that makes for a beautiful processing experience when you're using the phone from day to day. So I think that's good. Call quality over AT&T, it's actually pretty good. You know, AT&T isn't my carrier of choice, but to get this phone, I had to get it on my AT&T account. So call quality is good, though. I'm not going to say that it's bad. I mean, I just think their pricing is a little ridiculous for their plans and things like that. But I'm not going to say that they have bad call quality, but they have great call quality. I didn't get any HD calls or anything, but the call quality is it's good. No drop calls or anything. So the service where I am is pretty good. One of the last things I want to talk about is the battery. The battery on this thing can last you for about 3 days with light use and about 5 hours to 6 hours of screen on time, or even more. It just depends. I guess I wasn't expecting that. I'm kind of at a loss of words because I was not expecting to have such good battery life out of this. It has a 2200 milliamp battery, and to me, this just goes to show that if your operating system is optimized correctly, if it's optimized right, you will get good battery life. You will get it. You shouldn't have to put a 5000 milliamp battery in a phone and make this huge phone just to get good battery life. And however Apple has done it, however Windows Phone has done it, however the Fire Phone is put together, however BlackBerry is put together, all of those instances, BlackBerry is the lowest of the battery of those four that I just named. I don't know, the Fire Phone just shocked me with just long battery life. And it doesn't have a big battery, it's only 2400 milliamps, but hands down, the iPhones that I have, they're just long battery life. My iPhone 6 Plus, 3 days with about 8 hours of screen on time. That's pretty good, with just to go on a single charge. And definitely this phone right here, 3 days with about 5 to 6 hours of screen on time. Like I said, that's damn good battery to go that long. You know, with web browsing and playing a couple of games and email and texting. That's good battery. I don't care what anybody says. So that is how I feel about this particular device. I really like this device. I think it's a beautiful looking device. I'm probably gonna put the green back on there, man. I'm ready to put the green back on. I didn't think I would do that, but I think I'll put the green back on just to put it on. But this phone ranks really well with me. As you know, I really like Windows Phone. I think Windows Phone is unfortunately underrated, just like BlackBerry and just like some other operating systems. They're just completely overlooked because of iOS and Android. But at the same time, this is a phenomenal device. How do I rate this device? I give this device a 9.9. And you're probably saying, well, why won't you give it a 10? Well, the few things that bugged me, and as you notice, I didn't do any dislikes in here. I did a couple, but I mean, I think the only thing I would say is that I really hate the way this back is. Hate is such a strong word. I won't say that. I dislike how the back comes on and off. Now, granted, you don't take your back on and off a lot, but it's just one of those things. And now here's something that I do hate. I hate that this is only offered on AT&T. Ugh, I hate it. So I will have an unlock for this to use on T-Mobile, but I just don't like that it's locked to AT&T, and I think that hurts and hinders. Someone said recently, what Windows phone do you like do you think is good on T-Mobile? And there's only two that are active right now. It's just the M8 with Windows and the 635, and I'm going to recommend the 635 over the M8 because the M8 is 6 times the cost of the 635, and the 635 is good. They may not have boom sound and all that stuff, but the 635 is a very relevant Windows Phone device, and I would definitely recommend that over the M8. Because with the M8, you're just getting all the features that you have on M8, but they just put Windows in there. With 635, we watched that line evolve into something great, and that's just what it is. So 9.9. Giving it a 9.9 instead of a 10, but I don't like that it's locked to AT&T and it's only available with AT&T. And if you get the unlocked version, you can't get LTE. And I don't really care for the way this back is made. It's so flimsy, and then it's hard to get on and off if you want to change out your SD card or just take it apart for whatever reason. Gotta fix that. So. Also, you know what? I would have liked probably a higher megapixel camera on the front. Maybe just a 2 megapixel. This one is good, but I would have liked a 2 megapixel on the front, just for general purposes. So there you have it, folks. Obviously, a 9.9 is great. I think this phone scored well in damn near every situation that I put it in. And I think if you pick one up, you'll be happy. You actually also get this free, I told you guys I wouldn't use this free Fitbit watch thing for your fitness. And it's $99 on contract or $450 off contract with AT&T, or you could just go look online somewhere and find an AT&T one for $300, $400 or $300 actually, and pay $50 to get it unlocked. And then you've got yourself an unlocked one brand new, or you can just buy the unlocked one because then you can get the white one for $500, I believe it is. Microsoft sells it for. Or again, you can find that online for $300. So you do the math. This is the Nokia Lumia 830. Fantastic device. Go get you one.